Today, let's discuss the date when The Economist magazine released its 2025 prognosis for the world from the esoteric point of view and the point of view of the Tzolkin calendar. And while this cover has been reviewed and talked about a great deal already, I can show you how you can look at it from yet another perspective. At first, I will give an esoteric overview of the puzzle on the cover of The Economist. Then I will move on to analyzing the date on which this cover was published. This analysis will show what to expect in 2025 based on the Tzolkin calendar scenario for Kin 91, when the mystics at The Economist issued their vision for the world. Examining this cover using an esoteric method, I view it as a five-way pattern. At the top, there is a general situation under which we will find ourselves in 2025. It characterizes the overall environment and sets the stage for what's going to happen. It establishes the background for the plan. On the left-hand side, we see what's going to be left in the past or will be put on the back burner, although it would have some effect on our present circumstances. In the middle, we see our current situation. At the bottom, there is something that you will have to go through to get to the future. On the right-hand side, there is what lies ahead in the future. So let's see what The Economist is forecasting for the upcoming year with this cover. The general situation is symbolized by Saturn at the top of the image. Therefore, 2025 may be the year of restrictions, limitations, and control, demanding from humanity resilience to hardships and patience. Saturn is the symbol of Cronus. Cronus devours his children. He gathers the crops with his scythe, harvesting and removing that which outlived its term. The second prominent piece in this puzzle, in the upper part of the image, is the skyline of a mega-city, which appears to be without power, which may be explained away as a result of a changing climate. On the left, there are images of politicians that may lose some of their prominence next year, but the consequences of their actions will be influencing current events. The focus on the Western Hemisphere seems also to be moving to the back burner, at least for the next year. Perhaps some of the nuclear technologies would be deemed outdated. The electric vehicles also seem to be losing their luster due to fueling issues. The ballot box, that's seen its best days, is now in the past, but is still affecting our present-day situation. The middle of the image presents our current situation. There is President-elect Trump looking uncannily like that famous photo of Ronald Reagan. It appears that the current situation will revolve around the President-elect's persona and the US dollar. At the bottom of the puzzle, there is a portrait of Jane Austen. Therefore, the issues of class and socioeconomic status and security may become more prominent, and perhaps the upcoming year will be the year when notions of family values, connections, and morality will be especially pronounced. The raised fist to the right of Jane Austen's image promises an acute situation with orange revolutions throughout. The events in 2025, as predicted by the futurologists at The Economist, will bring two major leaders in the Eastern Hemisphere to the forefront, and you can also see the facial features of someone who is in the background, perhaps directing the play. The future also seems to be about the development of nuclear industry and energy. There is an image of a ship and an explosion near it, perhaps referring to the plan to build big, beautiful ships, quote unquote. And the situation in Eurasia will require the build-up of the military fleet. There is also a piece of medical equipment for the masses, so we may deal with another healthcare situation. Another obvious observation is that the contrast of the colors on this cover seems to be more dramatic than in the forecast for the year 2024. so take it for what it's worth. Let me know in the comments what you think the cover images I didn't mention mean using this 5-way pattern approach. I didn't feel like discussing the radioactive hazard sign because even contemplating the possibility of this type of scare in our lives in 2025 is exhausting. So this is what the Economist's editors predict will happen next year. It's essential for us to understand who these people are, why they're shaping these visions, and whose interests they serve. What is the purpose of these images and ideas? If you're listening to this presentation, you're likely aware that one of the names of our Earth is Midgard, or what Tzolkin referred to as Middle Earth, a junction where various souls and beings converge. This means that many beings here are destined for the lower worlds, while others are on the upward path. After more than 2 decades of widespread internet access, many people understand the ancient technology behind shaping the future. When these visions are made public, distributed, and presented to millions, they become internalized and gradually shape collective consciousness worldwide. The problem, however, is that these ideas appear to support destructive forces and chaos. Everyone aware of this should absolutely question this narrative and create one's own vision of the future, taking charge of one's own life, striving toward the true, the good, and the beautiful aspects of existence, and supporting one's spiritual growth. Now let's examine the scenario offered by the Tzolkin calendar for the date when the Economist published its year 2025 prognosis on its cover. The issue The World Ahead in 2025 was published on November 19th of 2024. In the Tzolkin calendar, this date is in Kin 91. Kin 91 is in the White Palace of Death, which is the second season of the calendar, in the 5th month of the Peacock Totem, the Master Day sign, and the Storm Week sign, with a personal tone 13, or the Turtle Totem. The White Palace of Death places people's lives at risk. Again, it is the Economist's prediction that the year is going to be unpleasant. For comparison, the year 2020 also was in the White Palace of Death. However, in the year 2020, the personal tone was tone 3, or the Deer Totem. In 2025, the personal totem for Kin 91 is the Turtle, which will make things interesting if you consider the nature of a turtle. Are we going to be each in our own shell? Will everyone be in a shelter of their own? We shall see. The Peacock Totem for the month of the forecast guarantees a large scale of events. The Master Day sign is the most powerful day sign in the Tzolkin calendar, apart from the Overlord Day sign that can take control of all other signs. It is very, very influential. The Master is someone who is a director and an actor at the same time, someone who loves to be on stage and is excellent at staging situations or events that are necessary to achieve desired goals. There is also an additional influence of the Blue Storm Week sign, which is not a benevolent influence. The storm sign is a sign of someone who provokes conflicts and causes emotional upheaval. The Turtle Totem personal tone indicates that the situation is at an end. There is nothing to be done apart from waiting for the results of a situation that was conceived much earlier. Digging even deeper, let's use an approach which equates energies of the Tzolkin calendar matrix with the equivalent energies described in other esoteric modalities. Inserting these modalities in the Tzolkin calendar by using mathematical formulas helps understand in visual and conceptual ways the scenarios that are built in the Tzolkin calendar grid. For example, the energies of a Kin 91 approximate the Justice card in Tarot, which means everyone will get their just desserts, and we may see trials of some sort that will gather more attention and publicity than usual. And in Tarot Minor Arcana, The King of Staves represents leadership, charisma, boldness, and financial gain. We will witness the rise of a strong, charismatic, and influential leader. There may be a situation in which a King of Staves will be on trial, or the King of Staves will be judging others or orchestrating events leading to trials. King 91 also includes the meanings represented in the Symbolon oracle card Buddha or Neptune in Leo. It warns about the conclusion of a situation, the restoration of peace, the ending of a situation, acceptance of a situation over which one has no control. One will need to tame one's own ego and find peace of mind. And in the Lenormand deck, the tree card represents health as well as roots and ancestral roots. I would like to compare the Tzolkin calendar scenario for the year 2024 with the Economist's cover for the year 2020, published on November 29th in 2019. The date is in Kin 94 and, as I mentioned earlier, is also in the White Palace of Death, which is the second season of the Tzolkin calendar year and is the most dangerous part of the year. Kin 94 includes the Deer personal tone, the Jaguar or Magician's day sign, and the Yellow Man week sign. I would like to point out that the deer is a herd animal. Therefore, if you remember, for the good part of the year 2020 and for several years after it, we heard a lot about herds, observed herd behavior, and in general, were treated like herd creatures. Kin 94 is in the 5th month of the Tzolkin calendar under the totem of a peacock, when the flow of events takes a 90-degree turn in a calendar, indicating a crucial development in a scenario. The peacock totem guarantees a large scale of events, rapid changes, as well as an ease of spreading or promoting some sort of information to the large number of people who would internalize it as trustworthy. The Tarot's Temperance card energy in Kin 94 is in the reversed order and is about disunity and religious sects. The Tarot's Minor Arcana Three of Swords card shows a feeling of sorrow, anxiety, doubt, absence of clarity, heaviness, depression, or tension. And in the Kin 94, the Actor card from the Symbolon oracle deck means exaggeration, making a big deal out of a molehill, playing to the crowd, and bluffing. And if you recall the events of 2020, this Tzolkin scenario describes them to a T. As you can see, the publishing date of The Economist's The World Ahead 2025 issue wasn't selected randomly. I tried to compare the predictions that The Economist magazine editors offered on the cover of their magazine with the Tzolkin calendar scenario for the date of the publication. To summarize, The Economist's editorial team chose to distribute The World Ahead in 2025 issue on the date in the Tzolkin calendar that offers the following scenario. The year will be pretty turbulent, many people's lives will be endangered, there will be health scares that may include measures reminiscent of the year 2020, a charismatic leader will be brought to the forefront, widely publicized trials are a possibility, many may have to be in seclusion or in their shelter, and some situations that have been going on for years will come to a close. In conclusion, I would like to mention that the Tzolkin calendar is a system that shows a convergence of energies affecting one's life. Being able to interpret Tzolkin calendars, scenarios, gives one an idea of the struggles and challenges one might face. It is important to realize, however, that the only way to free oneself from certain programmed turns of fate is to correct one's path along the karmic corridor of events through spiritual growth. If you enjoyed this presentation and found it useful or interesting, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching.